All right, guys, so here's the deal. I'm just on my property line. I don't have any trees down, but my neighbor got a lot of trees cut. Bit of a shallow Humboldt cut right there. This guy's a better faller than the last. In fact, too many, I think. They didn't selectively cut. They just took basically oaks, white and red, and hickory, anything 12 inches or better, but they leave the tops of the trees in the forest. And here's a white oak here. I'm gonna do a little limbing on this, and then there's some red oak down the way. We'll go and do a little bit of bucking there with the Tassie. I don't have much time. I just want to see how this thing's gonna chop. Love that swell. A lot of weight behind the head. Good for limbing big hard limbs like this. Don't worry, that's not blood on the handle. That's leather dye. Man, that stuff's hard. Like I said, it's been down for a few months. Probably in the spring they cut it, and this is the top of the tree, and white oak's miserable. Red oak is much more enjoyable to chop. All right, that's gonna go through. There we go. I guess it's good to try out the Tassie, which was made for Aussie hardwoods, on a hardwood. Here she goes. So far, so good. I love this handle. This Bass Gracer is probably the most comfortable handle I've ever used, and it feels really nice on this heavier head. The geometry of this is just as good as it gets for hardwood. I just can't see how this isn't going to be a good cordwood axe. This is good wood to test it on because it's semi-seasoned, and white oak is kind of a bitch. But I do have some red oak down there, and I don't have too much time, and I'll get hung up here limbing because I enjoy it so much. So we're gonna do a little bit more limbing off camera just to get a feel for this bad boy, and then I'll take you down to the red oak. So this is one of the least sticky axes I've ever used. Watch it just jump right out of the cut here. It's just the freest axe in the wood I've ever used, and we all know that a sticky axe will wear you out quickly, and this is just a pleasure to use. Bounces right out of the cut. I love it. I think that's that. As clean as I'm gonna get that side. I gotta say that I feel absolutely no shock in this handle. The head's not loose. The weight is perfect for something like this. And this like 19-degree flat grind chops really well in this. It's not sticking. I'm not saying my form is pretty or my notch is pretty, but the axe sure is, and the chips are pretty good. All right, I'm gonna take a quick break and do the other side. Beech definitely isn't as flexible as hickory, but I'm loving this handle. I would love to have one of these out of hickory. Hopefully this chip releases and then it'll be easier to get off. There we go. Now we can start to chop. Maybe. Come on. There we go, one hit, solid. Ooh. Nice clean break. All right, guys, let's talk. No kidding, this is, without a doubt, the best hardwood axe I've ever hung. It's just a perfect geometry. I mean, they know what they're doing down there in Australia. It is deadly. And you're gonna say I didn't chop much with it, and that's true, but I know enough to know that this is gonna be a good axe on most woods, especially in hardwoods like this red oak, especially in larger stuff like this red oak. But it also limbed that seasoned white oak really well, so I'm excited to see how this does in stringier stuff like maple. And I definitely want to stack it up against the Connie, because I said a little snarkily that the Connie, a Dayton, and the Tassie aren't different axes, and at first glance they're not, but this is a very different axe than my Connie anyway. So suffice it to say, I love this thing. It's going to be in my rotation a lot, especially when I get to the butt end of trees for the cordwood challenge. So high test, 2 thumbs up from me. Well, guys, that's about all the time I have. I got some chores to do. I got to cut grass and some other stuff. Paperwork, always paperwork. But alas, I did get out and I finally put this thing to use. So I'll see you when I see you. I'll see you on the next one.